The time was January 8th, 1790. The air in New York City, the heartbeat of a fledgling nation, was charged with a palpable sense of anticipation and promise. The United States of America, a canvas still wet with the ink of revolution, stood at the threshold of a future unwritten, its destiny as yet uncharted. Welcome to In 5 Minutes, where history comes alive, one story at a time. Today, we're stepping into the shoes of those who witnessed a monumental first in American history, the first State of the Union address by George Washington, a leader who had already etched his name into the annals of time as a warrior, a statesman, and the first president of the United States. But why did this moment resonate so deeply in the American psyche? Let's delve a little deeper. The newly ratified Constitution had woven into its fabric a mandate for transparency and accountability, a requirement that the President shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union. This wasn't just a new rule, it was a revolutionary concept in a world accustomed to the unchallenged rule of monarchs. Across the Atlantic, monarchs held court, their will and word law, with subjects kept largely in the dark about the workings of their governments. In stark contrast, here was the United States, a nascent democracy, daring to demand that its leader report back to its people, through their elected representatives, on the state of their union. When Washington prepared for this address, he faced a dilemma that no leader before him had: how to be both a unifier and a visionary in a room that represented the vast and varied interests of a whole new nation. On his mind was the new United States, a beacon of hope on the global stage, was navigating through tumultuous waters. The shadow of a national debt from the Revolutionary War loomed large, a reminder of the price of freedom. The nation's economic pulse was weak, lacking a stable currency and a financial system to support growth and stability. Enter Alexander Hamilton, the visionary Secretary of the Treasury, laying down the blueprints for economic revival, including the controversial proposal for the Bank of the United States. Yet, the challenges didn't end there. Abroad, the United States was a fledgling player on a chessboard dominated by European giants. British troops lingered on American soil, a blatant disregard for the Treaty of Paris. The Mediterranean waters were infested with Barbary pirates, threatening American interests. At home, the ink was barely dry on the Judiciary Act of 1789, setting up a federal judiciary system from scratch. Washington's cabinet was a work in progress, with the Department of State, the Department of War, and the Treasury being pieced together amidst debates and discussions on governance and policy. And let's not forget the Native American tribes, their land shrinking under the relentless march of settlers, sparking conflicts and raising moral and political questions about the young nation's direction. Amidst this whirlwind of activity, the crafting of the Bill of Rights was underway. A beacon of hope for the anti-federalists worried about the overreach of federal power and a testament to the new government's commitment to protecting individual liberties. This was the backdrop against which George Washington stood before the first Congress. His address was more than a formality. It was a navigation chart for a nation at the crossroads of history, a declaration of intent from a government pledged to serve its people. The night before the address, Washington is said to have paced the floor of his study in the presidential mansion, weighing every word of his speech. The task ahead was monumental. Not only did he have to inform Congress of the nation's fiscal, defense, and foreign relations status, but he also had to inspire confidence in a government still in its experimental stage. The morning of the address, an aide found Washington in his study, lit by the early dawn light, still working on his speech. The aide recounted later how Washington, with a solemn determination, remarked that this address was not just a formality but a cornerstone of the democracy they were building. It was a moment of vulnerability and strength, emblematic of the man himself. George Washington, ever mindful of the weight of his responsibilities, approached this task with solemnity. He saw beyond the immediate, understanding the address as an opportunity to foster unity among a collection of states as diverse in their interests as they were in their landscapes. The hushed silence as Washington stood to speak, the absence of modern amplification making his voice all the more commanding, each word delivered with precision and clarity, resonating through the chamber. His speech was a tapestry of the nation's concerns and aspirations: defense, finance, foreign relations, woven together with a thread of indomitable American spirit. It was a call to unity, to the shared endeavor of nation-building. As Washington stood before Congress that day, delivering his address, he wasn't just fulfilling a constitutional requirement, he was setting a precedent for openness. engaging directly with the representatives of the people in a way that no monarch had ever done. His address laid down the principles of a government that answers to its people, a novel idea that was as audacious as it was visionary. As he spoke of unity, of economic revival, of security and foreign diplomacy, and of the foundational principles of governance and liberty, Washington wasn't just addressing Congress, he was speaking to every American, laying down the ethos of a democracy that would endure the test of time. Washington's first State of the Union address was a masterful blend of vision and reality, of challenges and solutions. It set a precedent for transparency, leadership, and the indomitable American spirit. Join us next time on In 5 Minutes as we continue to explore pivotal moments in history that have shaped our world. If today's journey has inspired you, leave us a like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest episodes. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning.